the Minnesota Vikings be trading for cornerback Marshon Lattimore? This is coming in from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, where he linked Minnesota as a possible trade destination for the all-pro cornerback. What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now. And also on later on today's show, we're going to be talking about the possibility of the Vikings not cutting Lewis Cine. Could they trade the former first-round pick? We'll get into all of that here in a second. But first off, guys, if you guys want the best Vikings offseason coverage, hit that subscribe button. Training camp gets underway July 27th. There is no YouTube channel out there that will have it covered better than we do here at Chat Sports. So hit that subscribe button. Help us reach 28,000 subscribers. Do it for Vikings legend Adrian Peterson and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's break it down. Could the Vikings be trading for Marshon Lattimore? You know, Jeremy Fowler dropped a bombshell report suggesting that Minnesota should get involved in the Marshon Lattimore sweepstakes as he could be on his way out of New Orleans. But check out what Fowler had to say. He says the Saints are projected to be a league-high $88.2 million over the 2025 cap, more than double of any team in the NFL. Trading Lattimore would present the Saints with much-needed flexibility. A former first-rounder out of Ohio State, Lattimore has a reasonable cap hit of $14.6 million in 2024. But from a roster's perspective, blueprinting a deal for Lattimore now should be a far more realistic option than it was pre-draft. New Orleans traded up in the second round to select corner Kool-Aid McKinstry, a confident and fluid man corner who could be ready to start when September rolls around. And listen, the Marshon Lattimore contract is the biggest kicker in this potential trade, as yes, I agree with Fowler. That $14.6 million this year, fantastic deal. And with the Vikings still having $26 million in cap space to spend, I would love him for just this season. But this is when it gets tricky. 2025, his cap hit is $31.4 million. 2026, it's $28.6 million. Now, maybe the Vikings are looking at this and saying, you know, ideally, J.J. McCarthy takes that leap next season and he is, you know, somehow playing at top 12, top 15, you know, QB in the NFL level, and you got him on his rookie deal. You can overpay for a cornerback at a pretty premium position in the NFL. But let's check out where Lattimore ranks amongst other NFL corners. This is on a per-year basis, so Lattimore is at 19.4 average annual salary, which ranks him tied for 5th in the entire league behind names like Trayvon Diggs, Marlon Humphrey, Jalen Ramsey, Denzel Ward, and Jair Alexander. Then you also got guys like Jalen Johnson, who just got extended this offseason by the Bears. So Jarius Sneed got a nice payday from the Titans. Carlton Davis at $14.5 and then Chardavius Ward of the Niners at $13.5 million as well. And I actually do think the Vikings are one of the few teams that could take on his contract because of the reason I just stated. Like, I think the Vikings are ideally would like to go a route similar to the San Francisco 49ers, where you get that quarterback on a cheap rookie deal, and then you build a loaded 53-man roster around him where you allow yourself the ability to overpay for one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League, and that's what Marshon Lattimore is. And obviously with the Vikings having a dire need at the quarterback or cornerback position with, you know, you really only are in love with one of those players in Byron Murphy, I could see the Vikings actually being very, very interested in this. And Jeremy Fowler linked the Vikings by saying Minnesota has $26.3 million in 2024 cap space remaining and possesses $54.5 million in projected 2025 cap space, meaning the team has more than enough room to fit Lattimore's contract while maintaining assets to allocate elsewhere. And this was actually Fowler's trade idea. Even though the Vikings have very limited draft capitals, they only have 3 draft picks in 2025, having a first-round pick and 2 fifths. He said the Vikings could give up their 5th-round pick next season and then also a 2026 3rd-round pick. If this is the deal for Lattimore, check the box. Sign me up. I would do this deal in a heartbeat. But, you know, I will say this. I would not give up, obviously, a first-round pick for Lattimore, even a future 2nd-round pick. I would probably just keep it, like Jeremy Fowler said, a 3rd and a 5th. I think should be able to get it done. But the Vikings do need to be patient here because next year's free agency class is absolutely loaded. Like, it is a stacked class. And with the Vikings having projected $55 million in cap space following a Justin Jefferson extension, you also got to assume Darrisaw is probably going to have a cap hit of around $25 million, so it probably gets you around $30 million. Maybe you want to go on all in on Lattimore. Maybe you want to wait for a guy like Creed Humphrey. We'll just have to wait and see. But this is why I have loved the Vikings offseason so much, is because you set yourselves up to overpay for a player like Marshon Lattimore. And I think that's maybe what they could be thinking about doing. But here's a trade again where it would be the Vikings receiving Lattimore and then the Saints getting a 5th and a 3rd round pick in return. But you guys let me know, would you accept this trade? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline. And also, if you're a Saints fan coming across today's video, let me know your thoughts as well. Is this enough to get a Lattimore trade done? But my overall take on this, the Vikings cornerback room would improve massively with the addition of Lattimore. I like the guys, Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, Akeo Bevins, Mekhi Blackman. I think that's a solid 4-man rotation you have right now. But ideally, you would want Byron Murphy to slot into the cornerback 2 spot. You would want, Shaquille Griffin, Akeo Bevins, Mekhi Blackman to duke it out for that cornerback 3 reps. And if you would just add in Marshon Lattimore in this group right now, you can make an argument the Vikings would have a top 15-ish cornerback group in the NFL after this trade where, right now they're probably in the bottom 10 of the league. So, I would be all in on this trade for Lattimore. I understand, giving up future draft capital as a Vikings fan is just, it stinks right now considering all the draft capital we gave up to, trade back up or trade up in the first round twice this past season for JJ and Dallas Turner. But, overall, I would do it a 3rd and a 5th. Who cares? As the Rams owner, famously said, F them picks after the Rams won a Super Bowl after kind of going all in for that season. So I would do it, no doubt about it. But coming up next, could the Vikings not cut Lewis Cine, but trade him before the season? I got an interesting quote around that here for you guys in a second. But first off, if you guys want to get hooked up with a JJ McCarthy jersey today, hit this link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. I got mine already shipped in the mail. Cannot wait to be wearing it during our watch parties during the season. I got the all-white one. Actually, my first all-white Vikings jersey. I think it's sweet. Looks super slick. And plus that number 9 McCarthy, man. It's going to be one of the hottest jerseys out there at US Bank Stadium for the next, hopefully, 10-15 seasons. So click this link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, and get your JJ McCarthy jersey today. All right, let's break it down. Vikings trading Lewis Cine. What could they get? Is it even possible? Well, Pro Football Network's Anthony DeBona did write an article about that being the case. As he says this, he says, although several former defensive players for the Georgia Bulldogs have found success in the NFL, Lewis Cine is not one of them. Despite being selected by the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, Cine has struggled to stay on the field due to injuries. The Vikings could opt to cut their losses and trade Cine to give him a chance elsewhere. I agree with what Anthony's saying about, Cine has struggled to stay on the field. Big reason of that is is due to injuries. But I think also a bigger reason of that is just how loaded, the Vikings cornerback group really is. On 94% of defensive snaps last season, the Vikings ran 3 safeties. And we know the 3-headed monster. I mean, you got Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith, and then the ultimate Swiss Army knife in Josh Metellus. I mean, if you guys remember that hilarious graphic that they throwed up on screen, I think it was Fox doing the game. It was when the Vikings were taking on the Raiders, and it was like listing every single position Josh Metellus played this season, and it was all of them. Like, he literally played every single position but nose tackle on defense last season for the Vikings. So we know Brian Flores loves him. He loves the versatility of Smith and Bynum as well. So, I'm not calling Lewis Cine a bust because, listen, guys, he's only played 10 defensive snaps in his first 2 seasons. We really don't know. Obviously, it looks like, more likely than not, he is not living up to that first-round hype. But I just think Lewis Cine, if he gets his chance elsewhere, maybe he can make a name for himself. I mean, he was a first-round pick for a reason. He was really that catalyst on that Georgia defense. That was so special back in 2022, but he's only played 120 snaps total, with 110 of those being on special teams. And plus last season, only active for 3 games. So I do think the Vikings, if you're able to trade Cine, you do it, but it's got to be for the right price. Like, I'm not just giving him up for a 6th, 7th round pick. If you could somehow get a day 2 pick, I would do it. Even a 4th rounder, I think I would do it for Cine as well. But, I do think the Vikings, you already got a stacked safety room. No reason to keep Cine on this team. And plus, if I'm just thinking about from his perspective, if I wanted the best for Lewis Cine in this situation, I would probably move him as well. Just give him another landing spot. A team I thought about automatically that I could see trading for Cine, like the Baltimore Ravens. How funny would that be as, Vikings fans looking at Kyle Hamilton and Lewis Cine both on the same team as, Vikings fans really wanted Kyle Hamilton back in that 2023 draft. But, obviously it didn't end up working out. But you guys let me know. Do you believe in Lewis Cine? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section. If I had to answer this, do I believe in Lewis Cine? I'm going to – I just put myself on the spot right there with no answer. I'm going to go yes. I just don't think he's had the right opportunity yet. I'm going to be a believer. I'm going to be optimistic right here on my guy Lewis Cine. So, but you guys let me know. Y for yes, N for no if you believe in Lewis Cine. And also, we're doing real one roll call here. So if you guys made it to the end of today's video, give me a skull down in the comment section, and I'll show you guys some extra love so I know who all the real ones are that watch this entire thing to the end. Drop a skull, and remember to like today's show as well. But we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skull Vikes.